Yo, 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 we back here with another video, and we're going to be reviewing UFC 312. 312. Sydney card, and honestly, this card sucks. I'm just going to come out there and say it sucks. And honestly, I'm only going to be watching these two fights, and I can only be bothered to make my picks for these two fights. Still sick, in my bed, literally, only in my underwear right now, and maybe that's TMI, but I could give less of a fuck. We literally got two for title fights and then a bunch of cans. Not cans, but a bunch of unranked guys. Look at this. Look at this card. What the fuck? I guess this one was interesting, and then maybe this one is good too. It's surprising that Bruna Brazil is a plus 310 odds. I think she's gonna fucking destroy Rain Kong. I think this is the most overrated prospect that I've seen in women's MMA. Apart from that, obviously, Ansu Jubilee repping India, I like to see that. He's going up against a debut fighter. I think Ansu got this. I think a lot of people just hate on Jubilee just because he got destroyed in his last fight, but that's one loss, and it was against a guy who was a stylistic nightmare for him. I think Jubilee got this, but also Killen is a really good opponent. I think this is going to be a good fight. And, we got Toporia's brother, and Volkanovski is going to be cornering Colby, which is interesting. I'm probably not going to watch this fight just because I could care less about Toporia's brother. But I think these fights aren't bad. Oh, when Jack Jenkins is back, so that's going to be a good fight. I got Jack Jenkins. Santos is a good fighter, but Jenkins got this. He's been on a roll. And we got Jimmy Crute on the main card, which is just it just has a lot. And we got a Justin Tafa feature bout, which is just in a heavyweight fight like this, in a feature bout, it's something. Going against recently a DWCS fighter, Teixeira. I don't know, I believe in Tafa. Well, apart from those, not get out of there. I'm a fucking essay. But apart from that, these are the two fights I really am bothered to watch. I like seeing Zhang Weili fight. She's an entertaining fighter, and she's a good champion. Granted, the only problem is that she doesn't fight that often. Last time she fought was in 300. She fights once a year, and it does kind of hold up division a bit. And strawweight is kind of looking a little lackluster, but honestly, maybe she's getting up there in age. Maybe we'll see a new champion, and maybe she'll be a lot more active. Granted, the person who's challenging her isn't that fucking active either, pulling out of two fights but then gets a title shot. I think she was originally slated to fight Jandiroba, and she pulled out of that one, and then she just got a title shot. But anyways, we'll start with the co-main. We got Zhang Weili. She's the reigning champion. She defended against Lemos and Zhao Nan. And, she's on a roll right now. She doesn't fight that often, but it's clear she's doing really good. And in that Zhao Nan fight, she definitely showed levels. And she dominated. But Suarez, she's undefeated. She's going off a very high, she's going off a good win streak. She got some momentum, and yeah, it's been a while since she's fought, but she's the number one contender, and she got the title shot. There was really no other clear contender. There's Jandiroba, but honestly, I think they already made her fight. I think they're making her fight Zhao Nan in 314. Yeah, so I think that's a good number one contender fight. I think Jandiroba might take that one, but we'll predict it when it becomes official. And right now, I don't know what the odds are, to be honest. Yeah. It's probably Suarez is probably the favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if Weili was, but I think Suarez is the favorite. And the thing about Suarez, she got really good grappling. She has good wrestling. She's on a roll right now, and she clearly got the size advantage. And for someone like Weili, she's getting up there in age, I think she's 36 or 35. I think she's 35, but yeah, she's getting up there in age, and I mean, to be honest with you, Suarez isn't that much younger, but Suarez is a new contender, and I think this is gonna be a good fight. If I were to choose a winner, because honestly, I don't really have much to say about this, I would say Weili. I think Weili has the better striking, and honestly, her takedown defense is sus, but I don't see Suarez really submitting her or really ragdolling her on the ground. If I were to say, I mean, I think Weili's gonna get a late finish. I'm gonna go TKO. I just think that Suarez is gonna kind of wane in the later rounds. I think Weili's pressure is gonna be too much, and Weili got knockout power. She's definitely one of the more powerful people in strawweight. And strawweight is a pretty, like, in terms of hands, we got pretty weak hands. But, we got Weili, we got Andrade, we got a bunch of other people, who can hit hard. And Weili hits hard, and I think we might see TKO. If not, we're going to see a dominant decision. I'm predicting a 49-46. I think Suarez is going to come out there, maybe wrestle Weili in the first, but as the rounds get later, I think Weili's just going to add up the strikes and secure a good decision, or maybe get a TKO. I think Weili is just overall a more well-rounded fighter, and honestly, based on the competition Suarez has gone against, it doesn't convince me that Suarez is going to go run through Weili easily. But, MMA math doesn't work, and I think Styles wins fight, and I think Weili Styles is just a better. And honestly, I could see Weili, defending her title against Suarez, maybe the winner of Xiaonan versus Jandiroba later this year, or maybe early next year, and then retiring. And, I mean, Weili is just a dominant strawweight champion right now, so. And there's not really that many clear contenders. So, we'll see. I'm going to say Weili by TKO. Let's say round 4. Round 4. We'll do that. Next, we got the fight that I actually care about. Duplessis versus Sean Strickland. I think it doesn't say the odds here, but Strickland is the underdog in this fight, which it just doesn't. I mean, it makes sense, to be honest. Just because Duplessis is coming off a win against Adesanya and Strickland's coming off a win off Costa, But obviously, a lot of people, not obviously, but a lot of people have especially after the Costa fight, have been turning their back against Strickland. They don't really like him, They think he's a loudmouth, I think he's okay. I mean, he sounds like a white trash motherfucker, but I mean, the guy talks, he fights, and I think people are kind of judging him too harshly. That Costa fight was really the only boring one he's had. I mean, he had a banger against Izzy. His first fight against Duplessis was a good one, and he pretty much 50-45, or 49-46 if you want to be more accurate, Imavov, who recently just knocked out Izzy. So, I mean, Sean Strickland definitely have a resume, and I think people are overlooking Strickland. I think him being such a significant underdog in this fight is a steal. What I see different with this fight compared to the last fight, I think Dricus Du Plessis is going to be a lot more aggressive in the first rounds. He already knows how Sean Strickland's going to fight. He's going to try to go in with the blitzes. He's going to try to keep that pressure, try to keep Sean on that black foot in the first 2 rounds. And you will definitely mix in the takedowns as well, make him wary about the takedown threat, We saw against Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya was doing a lot better in the striking. Dricus Du Plessis was able to catch up in some rounds. Round 2, he was winning. But, I mean, in my opinion, Izzy was just a better striker in that fight. He was landing the better shots. He was a lot. I wouldn't say he was faster than Dricus, but he was definitely. He had more speed. And Dricus was really relying on those blitzes, those long winding punches, kind of just rushing Izzy, and it's a good game plan because pressure is what makes Izzy crack. He's not able to be as defensively sound on the back foot. And Dricus Du Plessis was able to land some good shots while in the blitz. He landed some good right hands against Izzy, took him down, exposed his grappling. I mean, obviously Izzy's grappling has never been that good. It's just that there hasn't been anyone who's been able to test it. I mean, I guess Vettori is a good grappler, but Vettori sucks. And there were many moments where Izzy gives his back, especially to like Robert Whittaker, to Vettori, and they haven't been able to be as aggressive in their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as Du Plessis. Duplessis exposed it. He was close to submitting Adesanya in the second round. He submitted Adesanya in the fourth round. And Duplessis, he finds a way to win. He finds a way to win. Like, we saw this against the Darren Till fight. He was getting pieced up in that Till fight. But Till just doesn't have good takedown defense, and he has shit grappling. And Duplessis used his grappling, and he was able to win. Same thing against, not against Giles, but I guess like in Giles too, he was getting pieced up a bit. But he was able to land a good shot, and that's what got him the win. Duplessis just somehow lucks his way into a fight, into a win. He just somehow wins. I mean, against Robert Whittaker, so many people were thinking Robert Whittaker was gonna style this man, but Duplessis was just manhandling Whittaker. I mean, Whittaker's not a very big middleweight, so it just Duplessis is a strong guy. He puts the pressure and he doesn't give up. He does not give up. He can get hit with so many shots. He can get styled on, pieced up, and he will still keep pushing forward. And I think that's what makes him so dangerous, because he's pushing forward. He's not giving up. You're getting tired. And he's just going to be the same guy. And he's most of the time stronger. He's much more buff. I mean, the guy's a light heavyweight at middleweight. The man's 220 pounds. He ragdolls people when they get tired. And Izzy, he was doing good, but it was clear that Izzy wasn't really getting to him, Duplessis was gassing, but he still kept pushing the pace. He still kept testing Adesanya. In the fourth round, Adesanya just gave his back, but he was too tired to defend the choke, and Dricus Duplessis was able to get it. Now, we talk about Sean Strickland. So, I see this fight, and I look at the first fight. I don't think this is going to be the same as the first fight. These guys are going to be fighting differently, just because these guys have more to prove now. Sean Strickland is going to probably try to be more aggressive, be more bold with the striking, and he's probably been working on his takedown defense as well, because those takedowns in the last fight were what cost Sean Strickland the win. Sean Strickland was piecing Duplessis up, but Duplessis, he got a couple good hits and he had a bunch of takedowns. So judges kind of gave the nod to Duplessis, and Sean Strickland probably, honestly, in my opinion, in terms of damage, which every fight should be scored on in terms of rounds as well, Sean Strickland won that. He won rounds 1, 2, and 5. And it was just, and it was not even, it was a close fight, but it was not a Duplessis win. Not even. I watched that fight multiple times, like 5 times, and I still don't find a reason why they scored rounds 2 or rounds 5 to Duplessis. Sean Strickland was landing the better shots. He was piecing up Duplessis with the jab and the cross. And although Sean Strickland was backing up, I mean, Duplessis' blitzes and his punches weren't phasing Sean Strickland. Duplessis landed some bombs on Strickland, and it's like the only damage he caused was a cut from, I don't know where the cut just came out of nowhere, and I guess judges look at that, but apart from that cut, he didn't land that much, he didn't have that much damage over Strickland. And I see Duplessis' biggest weakness is honestly very stupid, but it's obviously a good striker. A good striker with good defense. Darren Till had this. Darren Till was a good striker with good defense. He was able to piece up Duplessis. He was destroying him on the feet. But Darren Till doesn't have good takedown defense, and that's how Duplessis was able to win, through the grappling. Sean Strickland's the opposite. I wouldn't say the opposite, but on the ground, Sean Strickland's very good. Every time Duplessis took him down, he got back up instantly. And, I mean, we've seen Sean Strickland's wrestling. His coach has said that, like, Sean Strickland was able to take down light heavyweights like Ankalaev, which was, it just shows, like, how underrated his wrestling is. And Sean Strickland doesn't really use it enough. He uses it sometimes, but especially in that Imavov fight, he's definitely had some good wrestling highlights. But, against a lot of fighters like Izzy, he didn't use the wrestling. He destroyed Izzy just on the feet, while Duplessis was having a war with him and had to resort to the grappling to get a win. I mean, Sean Strickland's the better striker. He's the more, honestly, I'd say he's the more accurate striker. Duplessis is more powerful, but Duplessis doesn't really hit as clean as Strickland. Strickland has a good jab, and his boxing combinations are really good. Like, people think, oh, he jabs and teeps. Yes, he does that. But if you actually watch any fight apart from the Costa fight, he has good combinations, good boxing, and also Sean Strickland's defense is pretty good. I mean, we saw in the first 2 rounds, Duplessis was able to land some good hits, but it was clear that a lot of those shots weren't facing Sean Strickland, and Sean Strickland was able to defend a lot of shots. Until it was the 5th round and Strickland was pretty much blind in one eye, his defense started to fade, especially after that cut, and I think that cut was kind of limiting Strickland. But Sean Strickland's defense is honestly probably the best in middleweight right now. I've not seen anyone had as good as defense. I mean, the guy was able to defend all of Pereira's leg kicks, and he pretty much looked like a brick wall against Adesanya. I mean, Adesanya was landing shots, but I mean, he was not able to get started because Sean Strickland just kept having a good defense, and Adesanya was not able to get that advantage over him. Even in the first Duplessis fight, same thing. I mean, the first 2 rounds, Duplessis just could not get started. And when Sean Strickland got cut and his vision started to get compromised, I mean, when you get cut over your eye and your blood starts dripping down, bro, believe me, you can't see. It's like everything's red, and it's like it starts to get in your eye and shit, and it fucks up your vision. When you lose your eye, you lose depth perception. You're much more easier to hit because you can't really see a lot of hits coming. So, I mean, that's people who don't train think like, oh, a cut's not that bad. But, it is bad. It could definitely affect the fight. And Sean Strickland's going to make sure he doesn't get that type of fluky cut again. So, I mean, apart from that, Sean Strickland was doing really well in the first 2 rounds. He was piecing up Duplessis, and Duplessis just could not get started. His blitzes didn't really read anywhere because Strickland's defense is really good. And when it comes to strikers, when it comes to people who can land good combinations, who are accurate with their hits, who have good defense on the feet, like Darren Till, they can give Duplessis problems. And I think Sean Strickland is going to use that game plan. I think Sean Strickland, honestly, in this fight, is definitely going to be more aggressive in his striking. He's not going to be the guy who's just going to jab and teep, Probably because he's getting judged for it. He'll probably start slower in the first couple of rounds, just try to warm up Dricus, get comfortable, and maybe ramp it up. And I think Dricus Duplessis is going to start fast in this round, trying to go for a takedown. But, I mean, Sean Strickland is definitely working on his takedown defense. And his takedown defense, he did get taken down multiple times, but he didn't really get threatened by those takedowns. I mean, Dricus Duplessis was not able to hold him down for, honestly, a lot of time. Strickland was getting back up easily. And I think it's going to be the same thing in this fight. I think Strickland's right in regards that this fight is going to be mostly a stand-up fight. Just because Strickland's wrestling is really good. I don't think Duplessis is going to threaten him in the grappling. And I think if this is going to be a striking battle, I think Sean Strickland wins this. And I think he'll get a 48-47 decision. I see Dricus Duplessis maybe edging out maybe rounds 1 and 2 with maybe he gets starts with the pressure. Maybe the blitzes get through a bit. But then I see kind of Dricus Duplessis gassing in the later rounds, because he can't keep that pressure. The pressure, you can't keep it for like 2 rounds. I mean, his cardio it's good, but it's also not good. One thing about his cardio, it sucks, but he still keeps pushing, which what makes him dangerous. But you go against Strickland, I mean, if your cardio is bad, it's just going to affect how you do against him. And I mean, Strickland's here coming to prove something. He's going to come back to take that belt. I mean, he's been hungry for it. He's been training for Duplessis for like about a year now. So, I mean, this is going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be close, but it's going to be more definitive. I don't think it's going to go a split decision. I think Strickland is going to win by decision. If not, maybe get a TKO in the 5th round. I mean, Duplessis is very hard to finish, but I think it's possible. I mean, I don't think Strickland's going to go knock him out in one hit, but I think Strickland's striking is definitely going to give him a lot of problems. I think the teeps and the body kicks could definitely start to gas Duplessis a bit. And also, I just think like whenever we see fights like this where, for example, people are talking about Khamzat, They talk about Khamzat all the time. And they're thinking, oh, I would love to see a fight between Duplessis and Khamzat. And they kind of just, Dricus Duplessis will destroy Sean Strickland and fight Khamzat. I mean, the same shit happened with Adesanya and Dukas Duplessis, Adesanya won the belt back, DDP beat Robert Whittaker, people are saying, oh, Adesanya will just destroy Strickland and fight Duplessis in 2024. But it didn't happen. Sean Strickland destroyed Izzy. And then we have to get a different fight. Obviously, I think the judging was a bit swayed towards Duplessis just because we wanted to still set up that Izzy versus DDP fight, the Battle of Africa. And that's why they gave Izzy an undeserved title shot instead of a rematch for Strickland. But I'm glad they're giving the rematch for Strickland. In my opinion, I don't think he deserved it over Khamzat, but he was promised that title shot way before Khamzat. He beat Costa. He pretty much just 50-45 Costa. And, yeah, I mean, after a dominant performance against Costa, I mean, obviously he's going to get the rematch. So, obviously, and with Imavov knocking out Izzy, I mean, the title picture seems to be a lot more complicated now. Is Imavov going to get that title shot? And in my opinion, I feel like I'm one of the detractors saying that Imavov should get that title shot. But going back to the fight, Strickland just has the better striking. He has the better combinations, and I just think that Strickland's striking is going to give DDP a ton of problems. If I were to give keys to victory, DDP should definitely try to take this to the ground. I mean, at least not like try to hold. You probably can't hold him down, but at least score some takedowns. Maybe try to sway the rounds towards your side. Maybe get another controversial split decision. And for Strickland, I think just be more aggressive with the striking. Walk down DDP. I mean, yeah, he has the blitzes and he's a big guy, but I think Strickland definitely has the striking to neutralize Duplessis. DDP did not threaten him a lot with the striking in that last fight. That cut was probably the only damage that Sean Strickland got in that fight. And it sucks because if he didn't have that cut, it would have been very clear who won. Because DDP was getting pieced up. His face was swollen everywhere. And then Sean Strickland, when the cut was sealed, he looked like almost the same. He just had the cut, and that was it. And I don't know. And that cut wasn't even caused by DDP purposefully. So, I mean, I just think in this fight, I think Strickland's going to take the belt back. Strickland's just a better striker than DDP. Strickland also has good takedown defense, and I just don't see DDP really holding him down on the ground. And I think a lot of people are overlooking Strickland. I mean, there's so much hate for Strickland. It's just weird how MMA fans will just switch up on a guy in, like, a few months. For a few months. But I think Strickland's taking this belt back. And we're most likely going to see Strickland versus Khamzat, which is a fight that I'm less hyped for. But honestly, it would be interesting because a lot of people are counting out Strickland. I mean, here's the thing. Khamzat got good wrestling, like really good wrestling, but Strickland also has good wrestling too, and I just think Strickland's just a way better striker and has way better cardio than Khamzat. If Strickland survives that first 2 rounds against Khamzat, bro, Strickland's winning that easily. Easily. Khamzat's just gonna gas. I mean, he has no reason to improve his cardio. He beat Robert Whittaker in 1 round. We still don't know if his cardio is good. So, yeah. I mean, I'm giving this to Strickland. I'm going to say that Strickland wins by a 48-47 decision. I think Strickland's going to beat him in the later rounds 3, 4, or 5, maybe rounds 2, 4, and 5. Maybe Strickland Duplessis somehow gets round 3. But I see Strickland getting a 48-47 decision, maybe even a TKO, but most likely a decision. Because I don't think Strickland Duplessis is the type of guy to get TKO'd. I mean, he has definitely gotten KO'd before, but Sean Strickland's not going to be the guy to KO him. So, yeah. Anyways, that'll be all. I'll probably only be just watching these 2 fights, and then I'll fuck off and wait for Alex Pereira versus Uncle Ive. After I go to Peru. Hopefully, I'm going to have some fun time in Peru and get going. Anyways, see ya.